All right, get ready, because we're heading way back in time for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah. How far back are we talking?
We're talking thousands of years.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're diving into the Hermetica.
Ah, the Hermetica.
These writings are attributed to Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom. You know, the one who later became known as Hermes Trismegistus to the Greeks.
Hermes thrice great? Right.
Exactly.
I've always loved that name. So what secrets are we hoping to uncover in these texts?
We're going to try to understand what the Hermetica teaches about, well, everything, really.
Everything.
Well, the nature of reality, the cosmos, and humanity's place in it all. Big stuff.
Sounds ambitious.
It is. But, I mean, Thoth wasn't just any god. He was credited with inventing hieroglyphs, acting as the divine messenger, and even judged the hearts of souls in the afterlife.
That's quite the resume.
To help us decipher these mystical messages, I've got an expert with me, someone who knows how to connect this ancient wisdom to modern thought.
Well, I'm excited to see what we can find.
Let's jump right in. Why don't we start with those prophecies of Hermes? They're known for being incredibly accurate, predicting events that happen centuries later.
Yeah, they really are pretty amazing. In the very first chapter, Hermes defines pure philosophy.
Okay, so what's his definition?
He doesn't see it as just an intellectual pursuit, but more as a spiritual practice.
Interesting.
He believes it leads to a direct knowledge of Adam,
Adam.
the Egyptian name for God.
So instead of separating science and spirituality like we often do today, Hermes sees them as intertwined paths leading to that same ultimate truth.
Exactly. And he actually predicts a future where, well, where spirituality declines and materialism takes over.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he even paints this vivid picture of Egypt's decline with its sacred traditions abandoned and the Nile overflowing with blood.
His words really evoke this strong feeling of warning, like he's urging us not to lose sight of our spiritual roots. It's a little unsettling how accurately he seemed to foresee the challenges that our world is facing today.
Right, it makes you think.
But Hermes doesn't just offer warnings, does he? There's also a sense of hope in his message.
Absolutely. He talks about concealing his wisdom in books, almost like a message in a bottle for future generations that are seeking truth.
It's pretty amazing to think we might be the intended audience, rediscovering what was once lost.
Yeah, it's a powerful thought.
Okay, so how does Hermes go from these prophecies about the future to revealing these profound insights about creation itself?
Well, he describes a powerful mystical vision. It forms the foundation of his teachings.
Okay, tell me more about this vision.
Okay, so imagine him in this state of alert emptiness, and suddenly, this grand vision of creation unfolds.
Sounds a lot more engaging than your typical philosophy lecture. What does he see?
First, he encounters this, all-encompassing divine light. He understands it to be the mind of Adam.
So right away we see this idea that the divine isn't some distant separate entity, but rather the very essence of consciousness itself.
Exactly. And then a shadow emerges from this light. It symbolizes this raw, limitless potential.
Limitless potential.
Yeah, like the potential from which the cosmos will be formed.
It almost sounds like the Big Bang, an explosion of light and energy.
That's a great parallel. So many connections between ancient wisdom and modern science.
So what happens next in the vision?
Well, from the light comes the word.
The word.
Yeah. It's like the divine blueprint that brings order out of the chaos. Think of it like the fundamental laws of nature, the underlying principles that govern everything in the cosmos.
So we're not talking about just a random explosion here. It's a creation that's inherently intelligent and purposeful. And this vision is also where that famous Hermetic principle, as above, so below, originates, right?
That's right. The vision emphasizes that the human mind is like a mirror of the cosmic mind.
We are microcosms reflecting the macrocosm.
Precisely.
So by understanding ourselves, we can potentially unlock the secrets of the universe itself. That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It really is.
So then what happens?
Well, Hermes goes on to say that to see the creator, we have to contemplate creation.
Okay, so what does he mean?
He urges us to look at the order in the stars, the cycles of nature, the miracle of birth, all as clues to the nature of Adam.
I see. So instead of just observing the world, we should actively search for the divine intelligence woven into it.
Exactly.
He gives specific examples like the revolution of the stars and the fixed position of the North Star.
He does.
It's like these are just scientific facts. They're invitations to wonder and awe.
They are. And from that sense of wonder, we come to understand that the cosmos itself is a living being.
A living being.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
created from the interplay of two fundamental forces, light and life.
This is where it gets really interesting. Because Hermes claims that nothing in the cosmos is truly dead, even things we consider inanimate.
It's a radical idea, isn't it?
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about life itself.
It's more about seeing everything as interconnected energy in constant transformation.
It almost echoes modern physics.
How so?
Well, like the idea that energy can't be created or destroyed, only transformed.
Yeah, that's a great connection.
So what other mind-bending concepts does Hermes introduce about the cosmos?
Well, he describes time as a circle, constantly renewing and repeating.
A circle.
Yeah, which contrasts with our linear perception of time. He's highlighting the eternal nature of the cosmos, this never-ending cycle of creation and destruction.
So instead of a straight line from beginning to end, we're part of this grand cosmic dance that just keeps going and going.
Precisely.
But if the cosmos is this living being, constantly in motion, who's keeping everything running smoothly, I imagine that's where the gods come into the picture, but maybe not in the way we typically think.
You're exactly right. Hermes explains that the gods, particularly the planetary gods, they aren't separate deities. They're forces operating within the one god atom, more like administrators, ensuring the divine plan unfolds across the cosmos.
Okay, so it's like a finely tuned system where everyone has their role to play.
I like that analogy.
What about Ra, the sun god? What's his role in this cosmic administration?
Ra symbolizes both physical and spiritual nourishment. Just as the sun's light sustains life on Earth, the light of Adam nourishes our souls.
So our spiritual needs are just as important as our physical ones.
Absolutely.
But where do we fit into all of this? What's humanity's unique role in this living, breathing universe?
Well, that's the focus of the next few chapters, where Hermes suggests that humans were created to appreciate and contribute to the beauty of the cosmos, using our unique gifts of mind and creativity.
So we're not just meant to observe it, but to participate in it,
Yeah.
to create within it.
Right. He illustrates this with the Egyptian myth of Isis and Osiris as humanity's teachers.
Okay, so what do they teach?
Isis gifts us with agriculture, medicine, and the arts of civilization.
And Osiris.
He brings laws, justice, and spiritual practices.
And then Hermes makes this bold claim, right, that humans are actually greater than the gods
He does.
because of our ability to transcend those physical limitations through thought.
Exactly.
He even uses achievements like space travel as proof.
It's a pretty radical idea, suggesting that the human mind holds a power that even celestial beings don't possess.
This makes me think, though, doesn't Hermes also talk about the zodiac and this idea of destiny?
Yeah.
If humans are so powerful, how does that work with the idea that our lives might be predetermined?
That's a key tension that Hermes explores. He acknowledges that the zodiac influences our lives, but he also emphasizes that it doesn't negate free will.
So are we puppets of fate, or do we have the power to choose our own path? It's like we're getting into some of life's biggest questions now.
We are, and Hermes seems to suggest it might be a bit of both. He proposes that a soul that's illuminated by God's light can actually transcend astrological influences. Our awareness of the divine gives us the power to choose, even within the framework of fate.
It makes it even more important to understand what he means by the soul's journey, right? Its
Yeah.
descent into the physical world, its experiences during life, and its potential for transformation.
Exactly. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. I'm ready when you are. Okay, so we've explored Hermes' prophecies and even dove into his vision of creation, but what about us?
What about us?
You know, what happens to the human soul on its journey through life, death, and beyond? This is where things get really deep.
Oh, absolutely. Hermes really dives into this, devoting a good portion of the Hermetica to describing the soul's journey. It's filled with both profound insights and, well, some pretty intense imagery.
It is, like when he describes souls lamenting their descent into physical bodies, it's almost unsettling. It makes you reconsider your own choices.
It's a powerful image.
Why would souls be unhappy about entering the physical world?
Well, remember, in the Hermetic view, the soul is originally a part of the divine realm, pure and unburdened.
Okay.
Entering a physical body, it's seen as a type of forgetfulness, a veiling of the soul's true nature.
So it's like we're coming from this place of perfect knowledge and unity with Adam,
Right.
and then, bam, we're suddenly thrust into this limited physical existence.
It is a pretty jarring transition.
No wonder the souls are a little bummed out.
Yeah, but it's important to remember this earthly existence, it's not a punishment.
What is it then?
It's an opportunity. For growth, for learning, for purification.
I see. So it's more like a cosmic school
I like that.
where we keep coming back, until we learn our lessons and eventually return to that state of unity with Adam. This brings up the whole concept of rebirth. It can be confusing.
Why is that?
Well, it seems like Hermes talks about two different kinds of rebirth. One that happens within our lifetime, and then another after death.
You've hit on a crucial distinction there. The rebirth that Hermes emphasizes is an awakening to our divine nature that can happen while we're still embodied.
So it's not necessarily about literally being born again into another body.
Not necessary.
More of an inner transformation.
Exactly. It's about shedding the illusions of the material world, purifying our souls through knowledge and virtuous actions. It's about recognizing our true identity as spiritual beings that are connected to Adam.
But he also mentions souls being judged after death.
He does.
And either ascending to a higher realm or being sent back into the cycle of reincarnation.
That's right. Hermes describes this process where you could say the purity of a soul determines its fate after death. Those who have lived virtuously and attained knowledge of Adam, they ascend to this heavenly realm.
Okay, what about those who haven't quite reached that level of purification?
They continue the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth.
Until they achieve the necessary purification and remember their true nature.
That's the idea.
So there's a cosmic curriculum, and we keep repeating the course until we master the material. What are we supposed to be learning in this cosmic school?
Well, according to Hermes, the curriculum is all about mastering our passions.
Our past.
Overcoming our ignorance and realizing our unity with Adam. It's this journey of self-discovery, of self-mastery, and ultimately divine reunion.
I can see why the Hermetica has resonated with people for centuries. It addresses some of the biggest questions we face in life. Who are we? Where do we come from? What happens after we die?
It's a timeless text.
But that idea of unity with Adam, it still feels a bit abstract. What does that actually look like in practice? How can we, as finite beings, truly merge with the infinite?
It is a profound mystery, and Hermes acknowledges that words can only point us towards the experience, not fully encapsulate it.
Right.
It's like trying to explain the taste of chocolate to someone who's never had it.
I get it. So are there any practices or techniques that he suggests to help us move toward this union?
He does. In chapter 17, he highlights the importance of cultivating, well, boundless imagination.
Boundless imagination.
Yeah. He encourages us to imagine ourselves in all places at all times, to embrace all opposites, and to recognize our inherent immortality.
So it's about expanding our consciousness beyond the limitations of our everyday perceptions, breaking free from the constraints of time and space.
Precisely. By stretching our imagination, we can begin to glimpse the unity that underlies all things, the interconnectedness that binds us to everything in the cosmos, including Adam.
But isn't there a risk in that? Because Hermes mentions that people who attain this kind of knowledge, they're often misunderstood, seen as crazy, even persecuted.
That is a common thread in mystical traditions.
So how do we reconcile those two things? Seeking this profound spiritual knowledge, while also navigating a social world that might not be ready to accept it.
It's a delicate balance. Hermes doesn't advocate for completely withdrawing from the world, becoming a hermit on a mountaintop. He emphasizes using our understanding for the benefit of humanity.
It's about integrating our spiritual insights into our daily lives.
Right.
Putting our knowledge into action to make the world a better place.
Exactly. It's about becoming a living example of the Hermetic principles, radiating compassion, wisdom, and understanding into the world.
Okay, that makes sense. But there's still one big question lingering for me. If everything is a manifestation of Adam, if the world is a reflection of the divine mind, does that mean everything is inherently good? What about all the suffering and evil we see around us?
That is a question that has challenged thinkers for ages. And the Hermetica does offer a unique perspective on this difficult dilemma.
I'm all ears. How does Hermes reconcile the concept of a loving divine source with the very real pain and darkness that exists in the world?
Well, he suggests that what we perceive as evil is often the result of our limited understanding.
Limited understanding.
Yeah, it's like looking at a tapestry from the back, seeing a jumble of threads that seem random and chaotic, but when you turn it over and view it from the front, you see the intricate beauty of the design.
So it's not that evil doesn't exist, it's that our perspective is limited.
Precisely. Hermes doesn't deny the reality of suffering, but he suggests there might be a greater purpose at work. even within those difficult experiences.
So it's about trusting that there's a bigger picture,
Yeah.
a divine plan, even when we can't grasp it from our limited human perspective.
Exactly. And that trust comes from cultivating a deep connection with Adam, recognizing the divine spark within ourselves and within all things. It's about having faith that even in the darkest moments, the light of the divine is still present.
That offers some comfort, but I can't help but circle back to this idea of destiny and free will. It seems like the Hermetica emphasizes both.
Mm.
How much control do we really have over our lives if our basic personality traits, our strengths and weaknesses, might be influenced by the stars?
That tension between fate and free will is a core philosophical question, and the Hermetica explores it in depth. Hermes acknowledges the complexity of this relationship. He suggests that while the zodiac influences our lives, it doesn't dictate every choice we make.
There's no easy formula.
Not really. But he does suggest that the zodiac's influence is strongest on our physical bodies and instinctual nature.
Okay.
Our minds, though, our capacity for thought and reason, they can transcend these influences.
So we have a lower nature that's influenced by fate and a higher nature where our free will resides.
That's one way to think about it. And the goal, according to Hermes, is to cultivate that higher nature,
To cultivate it.
aligning our will with the will of Adam. In that alignment, we become conscious co-creators of our destinies.
So we're not just passive recipients of fate, but active participants. We have a choice in how we respond to the challenges and opportunities that come our way.
Exactly. And that participation, it requires awareness, effort, and a willingness to surrender to the divine plan, even when we don't fully understand it.
This reminds me of Hermes' final hymn to Adam, where he surrenders to the divine will and becomes an instrument of God's creative power. He's not trying to define or limit God intellectually anymore. He's simply allowing himself to become a vessel for the divine.
It's a beautiful expression of mystical union, recognizing that ultimately there's no separation between ourselves and the divine. It's the culmination of the Hermetic path.
So after this deep dive into the Hermetica, what's the takeaway for us here in the 21st century? What makes these ancient teachings relevant to our lives today?
That's the million-dollar question. And I think the answer is multifaceted, just like the Hermetica itself. But if I had to boil it down,
Give us the essence.
first, the Hermetica reminds us that the universe is a living being. It's infused with divine intelligence.
Okay. What else?
Second, we are not separate from this cosmos, but integral parts of it.
Integral parts.
Our minds are reflections of the cosmic mind. And within each of us lies the potential to awaken to our divine nature.
It's almost like we're walking around with the power of the universe inside of us.
Exactly. And that power, it's accessed through knowledge, contemplation, and aligning our will with the divine will.
But it's not just about intellectual knowledge, is it?
Not at all. It's about cultivating a direct relationship with the divine through practices like meditation, prayer, and living in harmony with nature.
So the Hermetica is not just a philosophical treatise, it's a guide to spiritual living.
A roadmap to awakening.
It's a journey, a process of seeking and becoming.
And it might not always be easy. There will be challenges and doubts along the way.
Right, but Hermes offers hope.
He does.
He reminds us that we're not alone. We have the guidance of the divine, the wisdom of the ancients, and the support of fellow seekers.
We do.
And maybe the most important reminder of all, the journey itself is the destination. It's not about reaching some final point, but about embracing this ongoing process of growth and transformation.
Beautifully put. It's almost like we're all on this cosmic treasure hunt, searching for those hidden gems of wisdom.
Scattered throughout the universe and within ourselves.
And the Hermetica is our guidebook, offering clues and insights along the way.
Makes me think about Hermes' description of the soul's journey after death. Ascending through different spheres, shedding those limitations and impurities along the way. It's a metaphor.
A metaphor for what?
The spiritual path itself, this continuous process of purification and refinement.
It also reminds us that death isn't an ending, but a transition.
Into another state of being.
Right.
So instead of fearing death, we should focus on living this life fully, embracing the present moment, and using our time to cultivate the qualities of the soul that endures beyond the physical realm.
Precisely. The Hermetica encourages us to live with an awareness of eternity, to see ourselves as eternal beings having a human experience.
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's not just about what we accumulate in this lifetime, but about the growth we experience, the love we share, and the wisdom we attain.
And those are the treasures we carry with us into the afterlife.
The true wealth of the soul. So in a sense, we're already living in the heavens.
We are.
Right here, right now.
The kingdom of heaven is within.
It's about recognizing it, awakening to that divine presence.
That surrounds us and permeates our very being.
Beautifully put. But I suspect Hermes would still have a few challenging questions for us to contemplate.
Oh, I'm sure he would. The Hermetica, it's a text that keeps on giving.
Sparking new insights with each reading.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but this is just the beginning.
This is just the start of our listeners' exploration. I have a feeling they'll be returning to these teachings again and again, uncovering new layers of meaning and wisdom.
Who knows what other secrets and insights await us in the depths of these ancient writings?
That's the beauty of it all. The journey of discovery never truly ends. But for now, let's leave our listener with a final thought from Hermes. All right, so you ready for that final thought from Hermes?
Hit me with it.
He says, if you shut your soul up in your body and demean yourself, saying, I cannot know, I am afraid, I cannot ascend to heaven, then what have you to do with Adam?
Wow, he doesn't pull any punches, does he? It's like a wake-up call, urging us to shed our self-doubt, to claim our divine inheritance.
He's saying, stop selling yourself short. You have the power to know God, to experience the divine, to transcend limitations.
Yes, it's inspiring.
But it can also be overwhelming. Where do we even begin?
Well, Hermes actually offers a surprisingly simple starting point.
Does he?
He says that just simply wishing and hoping to know Adam is a road that leads straight to goodness.
So it's not about complex rituals or years of study.
No.
It starts with a sincere desire.
Exactly.
Okay, that's reassuring.
He also reminds us that we're not alone in this pursuit.
Okay.
Adam is everywhere, always present, always available to those who seek him, with a genuine heart.
It's like that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But how do we recognize those teachers? How do we see the signs of the divine in our everyday lives?
Hermes encourages us to pay attention to those, you could say, those moments of grace, those synchronicities, those unexpected events that seem to, guide us or offer a glimpse of something bigger than ourselves.
Okay, so where can we find those?
They can appear in the most ordinary places. Whether we're awake or asleep, traveling or staying put, speaking or silent, those moments can happen anywhere, anytime.
So the divine isn't confined to, temples or specific practices. It's woven into the fabric of our existence.
It is. And it's about cultivating that awareness, that sensitivity to, the whispers of the divine. They're always present, always there.
Makes me think about how much we miss when we're rushing through life,
Yeah.
caught up in our routines and distractions. We need to slow down, pay attention, listen with our hearts.
That's the essence of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Hermetic path. It's not just about reading the texts or understanding the concepts intellectually. It's about embodying those teachings.
Bringing those ancient words into action, letting that wisdom transform us. It's a tall order, but it's exciting.
I think Hermes offers a key to this whole process. He says, man may know himself and so know the cosmos by being aware that he is an image of Adam and of the cosmos.
It's like that ancient Greek maxim, know thyself. Right?
Exactly. By understanding our own nature, our thoughts, emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, we gain a deeper understanding of the universe.
Because we're microcosms of the macrocosm, containing that same divine spark.
The same spark that animates the whole cosmos.
It's both humbling and empowering.
It is. It means we have this potential. We can access that same power, wisdom, and creative force that brought the universe into being.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
If we truly recognize our connection to the divine, we can't just sit back and be passive observers. We're called to participate.
To participate how?
In the unfolding of creation. Use our gifts to make the world a better place.
Co-creation.
Yeah. We're not just puppets of fate. We're partners with Adam in the ongoing process of creation.
I like that.
It's not just about what we receive from the universe, but what we give back. It's about expressing our talents, creativity, our love to uplift others, to inspire.
This is where the Hermetica becomes incredibly relevant to our modern lives. It's not just a collection of ancient stories and philosophical ideas. It's a guide to living a more meaningful, more fulfilling life.
It gives us a framework to understand our place in the universe, to navigate life's challenges, and to cultivate a deeper connection with the divine.
No wonder it continues to resonate with people across cultures and throughout history.
It speaks to that timeless yearning we all share, for connection, for meaning, for transcendence.
A yearning to know ourselves, to know the divine, to live a life that reflects that knowledge.
And the Hermetica provides a path, a way of seeing the world that can guide us on that journey of awakening.
So for those who are ready, to embark on this adventure, to delve into the mysteries of the Hermetica, to unlock that ancient wisdom,
It's waiting for you.
let the deep dive begin.
I love it because, like Hermes reminds us, simply wishing and hoping to know Adam is a road that leads straight to goodness. He says, it is an easy road to travel. Everywhere Adam will come to meet you. And with that beautiful invitation, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the Hermetica. We hope you enjoyed it, and, maybe you'll even be inspired to continue your own journey of discovery. Thanks for listening.